The truth is, squats aren't bad for your knees. Bad squats are bad for your knees. And just like swimming is a great exercise, but bad swimming is drowning, and that's bad for you too. So it's a matter of knowing how to do it and doing it right so you don't get hurt, and then slowly add resistance. But you're not, the whole idea is you're just slowly going down into the chair, taking your time. Those are your box squats. We need to move more and move better, move more, move often, and then load it. So that's my story. That's what I tell people.
I would like to encourage providers, if you have patients and you want to get them stronger, and maybe you would like to collaborate, you have a question, what would be a good idea in a specific clinical setting and situation, ask Dr. Barry, comment below the video, or even reach out directly, because this advice can just help us collaborate together for the patient's benefit. And I think that's very important. And
you too.
Just get strong, right?
Yeah, buddy. Good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Polish Your Life. Today, we're going to talk about how you can get strong, how you can get stronger, even if you're injured, how you can get strong to prevent injuries, and how you can get strong to improve the quality of your life. It is extremely important, and it is many times misunderstood, and that's why I'm super happy to welcome today my friend and a chiropractor who is in Frederick, Maryland, Dr. Don Barry. Dr. Don is absolutely amazing and very passionate. He is not only very experienced with chiropractic and physical therapy, but what's relevant to you in this context is he's extremely experienced training people and helping them with very active rehabilitation. And also he's trained and certified with kettlebells. He has so much experience with powerlifting, martial arts. So it's a very interesting combination to get advice from. Dr. Barry, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share this message of getting strong. I myself, even though I was very active in martial arts and other things, I was neglecting strength training. And as a result of that, in my 40s, I started to develop injuries. And, those injuries didn't go away until I started strength training. It wasn't through passive modalities of physical therapy and chiropractic that fixed them. It was actually lifting. And that's what fixed my hips and my personal issues. And then as I got more and more into lifting and training, I really found that looking at experience and looking at my patients, by this time I'd already been in practice for 15 years. I started to watch my patients age. I started to watch people making not so smart choices for their lifestyle. And a lot of us, we get busy, especially, when you're, pre-COVID, when you're living way out in Frederick and you're commuting to DC, it's not a lot of time for strength training. It's hard. I get it. And that's why I liked the kettlebell so much initially, because you could get so much done in a short time, 15 minutes, and it's a complete workout. I'm not here so much just to sell kettlebells, but as far as tools go, they're the simplest and easiest to use because of the full range of motion. And just like with anything that you start, you need to start smart. You need to slow cook the process. You don't just go, and this is an issue, especially with guys that are in their 40s and they remember what they were like at the gym in their 20s, and they go back to the gym, think they're going to work out, and they say, well, when I was last here 20 years ago, I lifted this. So they put that on the bar and try to lift it, and they get injured. It's like, come on, guys, think. So it's a process of learning how to move. And once you learn your movement, then you load the movement. And that's the whole process of adaptation in biology. You create stress and the body adapts. And that's important because when we're in our 40s, sarcopenia starts. That's when we just start to lose muscle mass. And that can be prevented, just with work. And who has an outline where they say 3 days a week, 30 minutes of cardio, 2 days a week, 45 minutes to an hour of strength training. And those are the WHO guidelines that have come out recently. And we know the effects of this. You can really make huge changes. With aging, when you think of age, sometimes we think of being frail. Now, there's certain things, diseases and bad injuries and other things that happen in life that can lead up to that for sure. But sometimes that's just a choice. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the truth. And I tell people you have to chase strength because weakness is chasing you. And it's not in a hurry. It'll catch you slowly. And that's what happens as we age, we start to get weak. And it's a very slow process. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's this huge cataclysmic, just rapid loss of muscle mass, and then your loss of balance, and you fall and you break a hip, and it's over. So I try to get people involved early, and there are so many simple things to do. Um, just at home, I spend a lot of time teaching my patients how to do assisted body weight exercises. And you can grab a door handle, hold the door handle, and do squats. That supports your body. You can do, I really like just getting off the chair with one leg, you know, propping yourself and just pushing, and use the other leg to support it. But focus on one leg doing most of the work, and do that a few times and do it with the other to build up the quads. Those are really simple things. And the other part, what's the opposite of getting up from the chair? Well, going down. So you take that same exercise and you slowly sit back. There you're working on let me move this. You're working, I don't know if we can see me, but let me slide this out a little bit. So here I am. Well, we're not going to be able to get it, but the whole idea is you're just slowly going down into the chair, taking your time. Those are your box squats. Those are simple things that most people can do, regardless of what kind of injuries they have. It's fairly safe. If you've got a knee injury there, well, you're going to have to watch it, and you can raise the seat and do other things that are going to support that range of motion that you can work in safely. When you're having pain in a certain joint, I always tell people to work in the pain-free zone. It's like you've got a green area that's all pain-free, and the yellow area, it starts to hurt. Well, stop there. Don't hit the red zone. Stay out of the red zone. And there's so many things you can do to just activate the core, and I'm going to describe the core, the core is your diaphragm to your pelvic floor and everything around. It's a drum. It's what stabilizes the spine with lifts. It's what stabilizes the spine when you're gardening, and you need that to be active. And one of the silliest exercises I have my patients do that everybody can do just about is crawling forwards, crawling backwards, and then just lifting the knees up just a tiny bit. Lift the knee off the ground a little bit so you're on your toes and you're on your hands, and hold that position. Do a few crawls back. That really engages the core, and it's safe on the back, as opposed to sit-ups, which sometimes, because of the flexion, will irritate the disc. So those are some of the simple home exercises that I have my patients doing to move, just to move more. A lot of times what we're seeing, like we talk about osteoarthritis, and people talk about it as being an overuse syndrome, right? Overuse. Well, there's a lot of research that's coming out, and it's saying that's not the case. This is an underuse problem, because when in the industrial age, people were working a lot harder and they had less osteoarthritis, less. And I'm just, unless you're weight bearing, unless you're pushing these muscles a little bit, they start, it's like if you're in space. If an astronaut's in space for a year and he comes back, his bones are weaker, his or her muscles are atrophied. That's what it's like here on Earth if we don't use them. It's the same thing. Lack of use, they go away, and we lose the core, and we lose balance, and like I said, the glutes and the legs, we lose so much of that. That's what causes grandma to fall. Um, those are things that can be prevented. You know, I do recommend, highly, if you're going to get into to weight training or kettlebells or just in general health, to find a trainer. The biggest thing that I see, even like in the video world, there's a lot of really good videos, and there's some bad ones too out there on how to exercise. But even if you have a really good video, and I've been guilty of this, where I've got a trainer, somebody I know, and I'm watching his video and I'm trying to imitate him, and I think I'm doing a good job. But then when that person sees me, says, "No, man, you're not doing this or not doing that." I'm watching him, I'm thinking I'm doing it right, but nobody's watching me and giving me feedback. So sometimes in the COVID world now, where we don't have always an opportunity to be with the coach, you could do a lot of this just like Mike and I are doing online, and you can have your coach watch you and cue you and give you points of like, hey, you need to move your foot, you need to move your hips back more, and I think that's critical to at least get some basic training and fundamentals, so you don't get injured doing it incorrectly. We used to hear all the time from the orthopedic surgeons, don't do squats, they're bad for your knees, and in fact, I would have told my patients not to squat back in the day because I didn't understand it. But the truth is, squats aren't bad for your knees. Bad squats are bad for your knees. And just like swimming is a great exercise, but bad swimming is drowning, and that's bad for you too. So it's a matter of knowing how to do it and doing it right so you don't get hurt, and then slowly add resistance. You're not in a hurry. You're checking the ego at the door, and you're focusing on quality movement and training. And as long as you're focusing on quality and not quantity, you will make progress. And the mindset is different because you're focusing on training, you're focusing on improving, as opposed to like, I've got 5 sets of 10, and you're just not even really focusing on what your body's doing. And that's how people get injured. And another point that I would like to say, there's a very Zen quality in training that I like. It's great mindfulness because it's dangerous. Your body is under load. You realize that if I make a mistake here, I could get hurt. So you take that opportunity to really focus on what's going on, as opposed to what's going on with Johnny's homework and what's going on at work and what's going on with your neighbor and all the other drama and things that are in our life. Right now, it's just you and the bar. It's just you and the weight. And you've got a few things to focus on, and it's 100% there. And that's meditation for me. I just think that the psychological help from exercise is phenomenal. And in fact, there's a book out called Spark, written by a medical doctor. I'm not sure if he's a neurologist or neuropsychologist, whatever, man. He's a smart dude. And he wrote this book, Spark, and he said the effect on the body of exercise is just a tiny side effect compared to what's going on in the neurochemistry. Lifting weights will make you smarter. It makes those neurotransmitters really work, and it makes big changes. And just in today's stressful world, we're all in the middle of this COVID stuff together. We need this more than ever. I really believe it's a big thing, and not only that, how it helps the immune system, right? I mean, that's huge. We're all talking about immunity. So just for things that, and stress kills your immunity. So exercise helps relieve the stress, and exercise does other things that just help your immune system respond better. Um, it's a no-brainer to me. But it has to be a lifestyle, and you got to find something that floats your boat. I mean, you got to find something that turns you on, that makes you want to do that. And it's just like if you are doing something because, well, I know this is good for me. It's kind of like me eating kale. Ugh. I mean, I know it's good for me, but I hate it. So I eat it, but I don't enjoy it. And I'm not going to look forward to the next time I eat kale. I mean, that's just me and kale. But if you're into exercise, you got to find something you enjoy doing. Strength training is one of those things that I think, whether you are a bicyclist, a runner, a racquetball player, a dancer, or whatever you do, strength training is just for injury prevention and increased performance. If you like to golf, well, you should lift weights. I mean, it just helps. So that's what I preach and teach, because I don't want people to be fragile. Fragility is what brings people into my office. It's not, it's the load that they weren't prepared for. And it could be as simple as a bag of groceries that they picked up, after picking up 10 others, and they're just not prepared for that kind of load. Um, you have to be, you can't be fragile. You've got to become resilient. Resilience is psychological, it's physical, it's who we are. That's survive, that's humans. We are not fragile, and our bodies do heal from the inside out. Sometimes they need help, but you know it does heal. We're not a fragile egg that's going to break if we squat and bend the knees and all of that. That's silliness. We need to move more and move better, move more, move often, and and then load it. So that's my story. That's what I tell people. Anything else?
I love what you said because your advice is always practical. Those are things that you and I and everybody else can do. And it's also, your advice is also adjusted to every individual needs, because it will be slightly different for somebody who is currently with major symptoms, maybe sciatica, maybe there is a disc issue. It would
Right,
be an adjusted type of exercise. And then for somebody who is just maybe haven't exercised for a while, that's going to be a different workout
right,
program that you would recommend. I
right.
love what you said about weakness trying to chase us, and we need to actually being able to chase strength, and then it is actually up to us to win. What you are talking about in terms of all these things that I know also outside of what you said in this video, um, is very adjusted and practical way of doing exercises that you actually can do, and putting excuses aside. So those excuses that we all have, either I'm busy, or like, oh, now
Yeah,
I'm on these 60, I'm already 65, so I cannot do it, or this or that.
right, right.
Those are all excuses. So I love what you say about it and how you adjusted. What you mentioned with Ryan Diener as well. I love your interview with him because you also talk about practical tips that people can do. Just what you said right now is that you can do a portion of the motion and get stronger within your,
Yeah,
I don't know if you would call it like a green zone, but then
yeah,
avoiding the red zone, right? I
right.
love it. Let's talk
That
about
that
that a little
that
bit more.
that zone should increase. You know what I mean? Like, this is your green zone right now. That's all you have, and you keep working it. And now it's this big, and that's that big, and the next, it's way big. But it just, you got to slow cook it, and you got to be patient.
Slow cook it.
You know,
Yes,
that's
I
it.
love it.
And you can't be in a hurry.
Yes. What about, let's say I'm watching this video and I am currently in rehab, right? So I am maybe with some sort of injury, getting better, but afraid to move. What would be your advice to me? Of course, respecting the fact that they're all already in rehab, but trying to motivate them to get stronger, but not to hurt themselves, but get stronger to help themselves recover faster. What would be your advice?
Well, that's a really good one, because fear and pain live in the same place in the brain, and they accentuate each other. All right. So I spent a lot of time, just finding out, letting my patients discover how much they can do in that pain-free zone in various exercises and how they can learn to increase it. Um, the other thing I would say is then find out what exercise you can do safely. This is how my mentor says it. Find out the most difficult exercise that your patient can do well, or your client. What exercise? It's the most difficult. How? That's the one you focus on. The most difficult that they can do well, and you slowly add weight, slowly add resistance, and that will build the confidence as they continue to see progress. I start off with something called mindful walking, which is, basically teaching people how to walk again because their feet are dead, because they wear shoes all the time and they're not used to being barefoot. At the bottom of their feet, even though it's innervated more than any other part in their body, just about lips, fingers, and toes, highly innervated, but we cover them up and support them so they're dead. I teach people how to walk, and after I teach them how to walk with weight. So it's a slow thing. I think taking the exercises that your rehab specialist has given you and see if it's okay with them and under their supervision to add some weight, add some resistance to those exercises, and also ask him what exercise. Say if you're getting your knee worked on, well, you've got this whole upper body you can do things with, and pursue that. Ask your rehabilitation specialist. I mean, they're highly qualified and they know what exercises you can do with your upper body while your lower body's healing. I ruptured my Achilles tendon, I don't know, a long time ago, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and I spent, I was teaching Kung Fu still, and I would sit on the ball and do my drills because I couldn't stand, but I could sit on the ball and I could still teach. And I found things I could do, I could do certain exercises on the other leg, I mean, you can find other things to work on,
Yeah, yeah. I love what you said because
Yeah.
you actually help people. It's like you're a chiropractor. You understand adjustments. This is an adjustment, right? Okay, I cannot do it my full body because my Achilles tendon is currently basically out, but
Yeah.
I can make an adjustment, right? And I can do it
Yeah.
another way. So
Yeah.
this is a very good piece of advice. And also, I want to tell people that Dr. Barry is, because we have a lot of providers watching. So Dr. Barry is also very open to collaboration. And if that's okay with you, Dr. Barry, I would like to encourage providers, if you have patients and you want to get them stronger, and maybe you would like to collaborate, you have a question, what would be a good idea in a specific clinical setting and situation, ask Dr. Barry, comment below the video, or even reach out directly, because this advice can just help us collaborate together for the patient's benefit. And I think that's very
That's right.
important.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Mike.
I want to thank you for today because you gave some very good tips. And on top of that, I want to encourage everybody on the provider side and also on the patient side. If you have any questions about getting stronger, if you feel like maybe you have some excuses that are trying to win, don't let them win. You need
That's
to
right.
win. You got to get stronger. Check out Dr. Barry's website. Check out what he's doing, his work, his successes for patients. And we are doing all this because, as you know, many times there are people who go to a doctor, they follow doctor's advice, and they actually do not feel better. So first of all, why? And then what can you do? And this is the purpose of our Doctors Networking Group. We are bringing more knowledge, more resources to you. If you have any questions, ask. Definitely check out Dr. Barry. He's absolutely amazing. And Dr. Barry, once again, thank you. Have a great day.
Mike.
And
You too.
just get strong, right?
Yeah, buddy.